The situation in northern Syria was desperate even before the earthquake struck. The region's home to millions of refugees who've been displaced already by years of civil war. The group of volunteers known as the White Helmets are leading the rescue efforts, as our international editor Jeremy Bowen reports.
Something to celebrate at last in a place without much good news. A family of 6 was rescued alive from the rubble in Idlib, the last part of Syria still controlled by rebels. The rescuers, a group called the White Helmets that the UK helps to fund, are experts. They've been digging out survivors of the Assad regime's airstrikes for much of Syria's long war. The geological faults that brought down these buildings cut right across the front lines and zones of influence that have devastated Syria since 2011. This is Aleppo, Syria's biggest city, back in regime hands since the rebels here were defeated in 2016. Now Syria has a huge natural disaster on the back of the man-made catastrophe that broke the country. In Aleppo hospital, every bed has its own tragedy. Only 3 members of this man's family survived when their home collapsed. 13 of them were killed. They were, he says, my father, my mother, my brother, his wife, and their 4 children. And the wife and 2 kids of the brother who was rescued with me also died. Faced with such disaster, the UN, which already helps care for millions of Syrians, appealed for some national solidarity.
We're hoping that everybody puts the interest of the people first. We keep the politics aside. We move the authorities, all authorities, move away from the issue, from the politics, and put the interest of the people first.
In Damascus, the capital, citizens are rallying around, giving blood. So far, grassroots relief efforts seem to be the best hope. It is not clear whether aid collected or delivered in Damascus will make it across the front line into rebel-held Idlib province. Back in Aleppo, Russian troops whose intervention salvaged the rule of the Assad family are helping the Syrian Red Crescent alongside Algerian rescue workers. The Damascus regime says its allies, also including Iran, are flying in aid. Allies and who controls what won't matter much to families who are homeless or nervous about sleeping in damaged buildings. An earthquake tests any nation's resilience. War has taught a generation of Syrians that they have to fend for themselves. In Idlib province, the White Helmets rescued another child, a boy called Karam. People do their best. Broader aid efforts, let alone rebuilding, will need a miracle to overcome the blight, hatred and distrust of a generation of war. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News.